The third 30-point game of the season, and an enemy territory gets this kind of salute as she exits the game.
Caitlin Clark scored a career-high 31 points in a single game, facing 2 flagrant fouls. Angel Reese quit the season with a wrist injury shortly after. Coincidence, or the breaking point of a so-called rivalry? In this video, we'll trace the most pivotal moments of their young careers, from clashes in college to controversies during their first WNBA seasons, and how one of them is rising above it all and redefining the game of basketball. 2 rookies that set the basketball world on fire. Their rivalry? It's been the talk of the town since their college days. Remember those college games? Reese's trash talk and Clark's ice-cold stare? Reese pointing to her ring finger and Clark doing the "you can't see me" wave. That was just the beginning. It reached its apex at the 2023 National Championship. Reese's LSU squad triumphed over Clark's Iowa, but the battle was far from over. As the WNBA draft approached, anticipation reached fever pitch. Clark, the sharpshooter with unmatched court vision and passing, went first overall to the Indiana Fever. Reese, known for her physical play and rebounding, landed with the Chicago Sky as the 7th pick.
Go to the WNBA because if Patrick Mahomes is the marquee attraction in the NFL, nobody a bigger attraction than her.
Their transition to the pros amplified the stakes. Each carried the weight of sky-high expectations, with fans and pundits alike wondering how their contrasting styles would fare against elite competition. Little did anyone know, their freshman seasons would be defined by a series of intense on-court confrontations, pushing both players to their limits and testing the very fabric of sportsmanship and player safety in the WNBA. Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.
Caitlin Clark has been flat out balling, and she has elevated her level of play to a point. There is no debate. I understand Angel Reese has been doing a thing with the double-doubles, like 24 straight double-doubles and all of this. Major props to her, and she deserves, she's going to be number 2. But Caitlin Clark going to win Rookie of the Year.
Their freshman seasons were meant to showcase skill and potential. Instead, they became muddled in controversy. What transpired when Clark and Reese's divergent approaches collided on the professional stage, and how did it reshape perceptions of both players? The June 1st game between the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky set the stage for a series of contentious encounters. During an inbound play, Kennedy Carter of the Sky committed a hard foul on Caitlin Clark.
Good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
The aggressive move raised eyebrows, but what followed sparked even more debate. Angel Reese, watching from the bench, was caught on camera clapping in apparent approval of the physical play against her former collegiate foil. This moment marked a turning point in the narrative surrounding Clark and Reese. The stark contrast between Clark's finesse-driven game and the Sky's physical approach became impossible to ignore. Basketball analysts and fans alike began to question whether the aggressive tactics were simply part of the game or crossing a line. The Fever beat the Sky 71-70 on June 1st. Little did both teams know this was the start of a darker turn for the rest of the WNBA season. The June 16th matchup only intensified the scrutiny. In a pivotal moment, Reese attempted to block a shot by Clark but ended up hitting her in the head. Officials reviewed the play and upgraded it to a flagrant 1 foul, underscoring the severity of the contact. Reese defended her actions, calling it a basketball play and emphasizing her intent to go for the ball. Let's watch the footage and you be the judge.
Foul, I believe, to Angel Reese. Yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor to review this one.
Indiana once again dispatches of Chicago handily, 91-83, after 23 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds from Clark and 19 points. 14 rebounds from sophomore standout Aaliyah Boston. However, the incident with Reese fueled growing concerns about player safety and the nature of competition between these 2 rising stars. As these physical encounters mounted, public perception began to shift dramatically. Clark, despite being on the receiving end of aggressive play, maintained her composure and continued to perform at a high level. Her resilience in the face of adversity resonated with fans and commentators alike. Meanwhile, Reese faced increasing criticism for her physical tactics. What had once been seen as competitive fire was now being viewed through a more critical lens. The incidents were no longer isolated events, but part of a broader narrative shaping the dynamics between these 2 players and their respective teams. The contrasting styles of play became a focal point of discussion throughout the league. Clark's ability to maintain her composure and excel, despite the physical challenges, elevated her status as a fan favorite. Her approach to the game, characterized by skill, vision, and sportsmanship, stood in sharp relief against the backdrop of aggressive tactics employed by some of her opponents. As the season progressed, it became clear that these early confrontations were more than just typical growing pains. They were reshaping the narrative around both players and forcing the league to confront questions about the balance between competitive play and player safety. The incidents involving Clark and Reese weren't just shaping their individual stories. They were influencing broader conversations about the future of women's basketball. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but...
The stage was set for a defining moment in the WNBA season. As tensions reached a boiling point, could Caitlin Clark rise above the physical play and silence her critics? The August 30th showdown would push her to her limits and reveal the true measure of her resilience. The anticipation was palpable as the Indiana Fever prepared to face the Chicago Sky once again. The previous encounters between these teams had been marked by controversy and physical play, but this game was supposed to be different. This was the final meeting between the two teams during the regular season, with Indiana winning 2 out of the last 3 games. Playoff positioning was at stake between the two teams that were eyeing a spot in the postseason. From the opening tip, it was clear that the Sky hadn't abandoned their aggressive tactics. Clark found herself targeted repeatedly, facing hard screens and tight defensive coverage. But instead of faltering under the pressure, she seemed to thrive on it. Her first three-pointer of the night sailed through the net, silencing the away crowd and igniting the Fever faithful. As the game progressed, Clark's impact grew. She threaded passes through impossibly tight windows, finding open teammates with uncanny precision. Her court vision, always a strength, seemed to have reached new heights. But it wasn't just her playmaking that shone. Clark was in full scoring mode. Midway through the second quarter, the intensity ratcheted up another notch. Michaela Onyenware decided Clark needed a flying lesson.
Take a look here. Does she give her landing space?
It doesn't look like she does to me, and the actual call of that is a reckless close.
The collision left Clark sprawled on the court, and the refs slapped Onyenware with a flagrant 1 for not giving Clark landing space. The crowd held its breath as Clark picked herself up off the hardwood. Would this be the moment that broke her composure? Instead, Clark calmly sank both free throws and on the ensuing possession, scored once more. The third quarter brought more of the same. Clark's relentless attack kept the Sky defense on its heels. She alternated between driving to the hoop and pulling up for long-range bombs. With each made basket, the energy in the arena grew. Fans who had come to see a spectacle were instead witnessing a masterclass in offensive basketball. But the Sky weren't done yet. In a moment that would be replayed and analyzed for weeks to come, Clark was hit with another flagrant foul. Clark had just stolen the ball when, bam, Diamond DeShields knocked her down. Another flagrant 1.
The Chicago Sky here from Wintrust Arena. The Fever really stretched out this one.
This time, the contact was even more blatant. As officials reviewed the play, a disturbing statistic came to light. 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league had been committed against Clark, with a staggering 80% of those coming from the Chicago Sky. Lesser players might have wilted under such treatment. Clark, however, seemed to draw strength from the adversity. In the fourth quarter, she put on a show that left even the most seasoned basketball observers in awe. Crossovers, step-back threes, no-look passes. Her arsenal seemed limitless. As the final minutes ticked away, it became clear that this wasn't just a good game for Clark. It was a career-defining performance. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told the tale. Indiana Fever 100, Chicago Sky 81. Clark's stat line was nothing short of historic. 31 points, 12 assists, and 4 rebounds. She had shot 8 for 14 from the field, including a blistering 5 for 9 from beyond the arc. In the face of aggressive defense and questionable tactics, Clark had delivered the best performance of her young career. In the post-game press conference, Clark's composure was just as impressive as her on-court play. "It's just part of basketball," she remarked when asked about the physical nature of the game. This simple statement spoke volumes about her mental toughness and professionalism.
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just part of basketball. It is what it is. just trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens. And
The contrast between Clark's approach and the tactics employed against her couldn't have been starker. While her opponents relied on physicality and intimidation, Clark let her game do the talking. Her ability to maintain focus and excel under pressure not only secured a crucial victory for the Fever, but also sent a powerful message to the rest of the league. Clark's message reverberated through the league, but an unexpected announcement was about to shift the narrative entirely. How would a sudden absence reshape the landscape and fan perceptions? In the wake of Clark's stellar performance, the basketball world buzzed with anticipation for what would come next. However, the focus quickly shifted as news broke that Angel Reese would miss the remainder of the WNBA season due to a wrist injury. The Chicago Sky's star announced she had a small crack in a bone that required surgery, effectively ending her first professional campaign.
So yeah, I hurt my wrist. I am out for the season. I fell on my hand when I got the M1. When I fell back, fell on my hand, and it is a small crack in my bone.
Reese's departure from the court came as a shock to many, especially given the timing. Her absence left a void in the Sky's lineup and raised questions about the team's playoff prospects. The announcement sparked immediate speculation among fans and analysts. While Reese cited a legitimate injury, some couldn't help but wonder if the physical and mental toll of the season, particularly the intense matchups against Clark, had played a role in her decision. The timing, coming so soon after Clark's career-high performance, only fueled these theories. The contrast between Reese's exit and Clark's continued ascent couldn't have been starker. While one rookie sensation stepped away from the spotlight, the other seemed to thrive under the bright lights. Clark's composure in the face of aggressive play had won her admirers beyond just Indiana Fever fans. Interestingly, Clark herself expressed sadness over Reese's injury.
yeah, I think it's definitely sad anytime you see anybody go down with an injury, especially people that you came into this league with, whether it was Kim, whether it was Angel, and especially Angel. You want to see her finish out this year. Obviously, she's had a historic year and she's done some incredible things. And
This show of sportsmanship further endeared Clark to fans and fellow players alike, highlighting her maturity and professionalism.
for me, getting to play against her, her motor is up there, if not the best in the league. She just doesn't stop working. So, congratulations to her. I thought she had a tremendous year. And I thought she came to the league and really did what she's done well her entire career as long as I've known her. So it's definitely devastating. That's never anything you want to see from a player.
As Reese stepped back, Clark's influence in the league continued to grow. Her style of play, characterized by skill, vision, and resilience, was becoming a model for young players to emulate. The narrative had shifted dramatically from the early season controversies to a celebration of Clark's impact on the game. Reese's departure also brought player safety back into focus. The physical nature of the games involving Clark and Reese had already raised eyebrows. The league found itself at a crossroads, needing to balance the excitement of intense play with the well-being of its stars. Looking ahead, Reese remained optimistic about her future in the WNBA. Her determination to overcome this obstacle and return stronger next season added another layer to the evolving narrative of her career. All the while, Clark just continued shattering records. During the time Reese was injured, Clark has set the single-season record for assists across all players, and the all-time points records in a season for a rookie. The Clark-Reese saga has captivated basketball fans, shining a spotlight on women's basketball like never before. Their contrasting styles and on-court encounters have sparked intense debates about sportsmanship, player safety, and the future of the game. Despite the controversies, this rivalry has undeniably boosted the sport's visibility and popularity. As Angel Reese herself acknowledged, "I'll take the bad guy role. I know we're growing women's basketball." This sentiment underscores the impact their competitive spirit has had on the league's growth. Clark echoed this, noting, "It's just the emotion and passion that we play with. I think people love to see that." While the on-court performances and fan reactions have been intense, both players have consistently expressed mutual respect. As the WNBA continues to evolve, we'll watch history unfold together. What do you think will happen on year 2? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on the latest news. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.